Welcome back. We're looking again at the subject matter of the Supreme Court granting local councils financial autonomy. Our guest is Dr. Daniel Bwala, who is a legal practitioner and policy analyst based in the UK. Thank you once again, Dr. Bwala, for coming on the program. Now, Ada in Jos has waited right through the break. Good morning to you, ma'am. Thank you for holding on.
Good morning. It's a welcome development.
Good morning.
I commend the Tinubu-led administration to be able to accomplish this circulating type of the local government autonomy, But I thank God that this has come to pass now. But let me tell you something. The local government, as much as is the third tier of government, very close to the people, and then with this fiscal autonomy now, it should guarantee the development of each local government. But having said that, this fiscal autonomy doesn't guarantee that because of corruption. So if some of the chairmen now decide to see it as a milocon, it's their time to chop, then we are in trouble. But let me sound a warning to them. They should note that the governors have immunity, which has translated to impunity for some of them. But the local government chairmen, they're not under any immunity. So the EFCC can go after them, even while they are in office. So let them hear that, Because the problem, even I heard people talking about conducting elections, whether it's a national INEC or whether it's a state or whatever INEC. That is not the problem of Nigeria. The problem of Nigeria, we have weak institutions. Why can't we address it from the root causes? If we have strong institutions, anybody can conduct that election as to be credible. So let us address that problem we have in Nigeria. And then I feel now that the attention should be on restructuring Nigeria. If we restructure Nigeria, all these states that say they have 100 local government, they will collapse some of them. Let each state, control what they have and pay tax to the center so we can stop this with the motor economy. All the time, let's not do for Nigeria. All the idea.
Well, thank you very much, Ada, for calling in. Again, yet another perspective on the matter. Dr. Bwala.
Right. The point she has made is very important, is germane. But I want to encourage her by telling her this, that Section 5 of the Constitution empowers the President of the Federal Republic because it says the executive powers of the Federation shall be vested in the President. And he will perform the functions and the duty of that office either by himself or through the Vice President or through the officers of the government of the Federation. Part of the officers of the government of the Federation are the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, the ICPC, the NFIU, the Central Bank Governor, and all of the agencies of government that are within or under the executive branch of government. So by this development, the President has been directed in that judgment to ensure that the monies are sent to the local government and its administration. So the President, I'm sure, I made the suggestion, and I'm sure he's not sleeping, he would have by now directed the relevant agencies of government to put to bear a blueprint that will make for the workability of this judgment. This judgment cannot be a fruit that will fall on the ground. It must be a fruit that will fall for the good of the people at the local level. You need to know that the chairman of the local government is not covered by Section 308 of the Constitution. If the chairman decides to be so foolish to play along with the government, the state governors, at the detriment of their people, they can pick it up anytime. Secondly, all these agencies of government that have dealings with finances would have by now placed a watch on the local government account by the time it is established. And then there will be weekly report, daily report, or whatever it is, the report of the inflows and outflows of transactions into those accounts. And the law enforcement are there even at the local level. So it is not going to be a case of the chairman of the local government thinking, okay, this is an opportunity for me to chop. The reason why governors siphon public funds for a long time is because Section 308 covers them. So for the period of 4 years that they are there, they keep doing whatever they want. They cannot be picked up because they are covered by immunity. Local government chairman does not have that luxury. So from when your hand, you put it to the jar, you can be arrested and you can be dealt with at that time. And the minute you advise yourself that whatever the governor wants you to do in terms of mismanaging the funds of the local government, you need to know that you are not under Section 8. Let me give you a graphic example. If the money paid into the local government account is 1 billion naira, and you go and give the governor 700 million and keep 300, when EFCC call you to account, they are not going to ask you to account for 300. They are going to ask you to account for 1 billion. The governor would have eaten it, would have probably moved it somewhere, would have used it to buy the property. You are going to languish in hell until you produce the 1 billion. This has to be made clear to those ones who will make themselves willing tools in the hands of governors for the purposes of siphoning public trust. So I don't believe after the judgment, the president will just say they would have directed by now to put a plan in place to ensure that these monies are not siphoned or are not mismanaged. There will be proper governance at the local level. This I give you the guarantee. And this is one of the many proposals that the president has in putting this country on the right trajectory to economic recovery.
Indeed. Mr. Funshaw in Mina, thank you for holding on. Go right ahead now, please.
Yeah, good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning, sir. Thank you for calling in.
Yeah, we really thank God for this Supreme Court judgment. Everybody's happy. Yeah, everybody's happy. Now, what we are saying now is let the government let the state government allow the local government chairman to perform their duties, because with this development now, we are going to have economic development, sport development, health development, and social development, infrastructure development throughout the local government now, because the fund is going directly to them. They will be able to make use of it. Now that the election will be conducted by the state government, INEC, we hope they will do the right thing. But with the issue of our governor saying they are still going, it's not yet the Huru, but we know definitely the government will go back to the policies will go back to local now, because people at the local government will be able to select or they nominate people to contest election for them instead of from the federal government or from the state government. Now, sports will develop, a lot of people develop, but we are hoping that everything will go the way we expect, because everybody is happy with the judgment now. We want things to go back to local government so that everybody in the local government can return, and then things will start working.
Okay. Thank you very much for calling in. Thank you very much for calling in, Funshaw from Mina there. And indeed, most of the points you made, if you've been with us from the beginning, have already been commented upon and largely in agreement with those ideas that you are proposing. Okay, no, I don't have someone on the line. The other thing is, this judgment is sort of, this Supreme Court judgment is unambiguous, although you had spoken about maybe if they wanted to pursue it further, they could seek interpretation of some aspects of the Constitution in relation to enhancing this decision that has come down. But the point I wanted to make about that, in saying that the decision handed down is unambiguous, is a question that came up. No doubt you would have heard it yourself. Local government development areas that were created. There are those who have called in to say, okay, so what's going to happen to that? Because of the lack of ambiguity in it, all those just disappear now. The Constitution, the Constitution delineates 774 local government councils, and I imagine that's the way it shall be. Is that also your opinion?
Strictly from the point of view of law, the only local government that will access the funds will be local governments circumscribed by the Constitution as 774. So for states that created local government council or local government development areas, to me is a good thing. And I'm sure it will also give opportunity to other states who have expanded and have increased the horizon of their place, and economic activity is such that it can sustain itself, to also make those proposals. Now, in the same way, the procedure for the creation of states is required by Constitution. the National Assembly can run through the same process and adopt these local government development areas that have been created by states of the Federation to be part of the local government administration or local government council of Nigeria. And once that amendment is done and adopted by the National Assembly following the procedures of law, then they become part of the local government. So I foresee a situation where there will be more local government that will be created arising from this decision. But I think it is needless for the state to go into this attempt to create local government because state A has created development areas, therefore we are going to create. Meanwhile, there are no economic activities in that area. There are no population and system of government that can sustain it. I don't think there are states that are struggling to pay salary and that are struggling to survive will have justiciability, or it will be justified of them to go ahead to create local government just because they want to access funds. You have to first deal with the ones that you have, whether you can administer. But there are states that are viable enough, and the population has increased. It's economic activity-based states. Those ones will have a good case to make in the constitutional amendment that will incorporate those development areas to be part of the local government administration or council of Nigeria.
Okay. Professor Edmund in Enugu would like to join the conversation. Good morning to you, Prof.
Okay. Are you with me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Do I go ahead?
Please.
Do I go ahead?
Please do.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Yori. And thanks to that young articulate barrister there.
Daniel Wala.
I've been carefully listening to the comments of the barrister and also the comments of, the comments of the scholars and the comments of or responses of Wala. Let me start by saying that our problem is fundamental. The problem we have in this country is our constitution. Our constitution is too ambiguous. And this ambiguity is causing these various interpretations from both the lawyers, non-lawyers, judges, and non-judges concerning the judgment of granting, in parentheses, autonomy to local government. At the same time, granted that the Supreme Court has given that autonomy, Nigerians are still calling for INEC to conduct the election for local government. What type of federation are we operating? At times I wonder, what type of federation are we operating when everything will be centralized? And in many countries of democracies of the world today, they're talking about decentralization as a tool for social economic development. And we are here talking about INEC, when some are clamoring for unbundling of INEC, and we want to add more problem to existing INEC. So my take is that autonomy is okay for local government. However, states should be allowed to create local government. Federal government has no business creating local government. It is, I believe, if our constitution is tinkered with, it is responsibility of the states to create local governments and not the central government. The state, he who wears the shoes, knows where it pinches. All the federal government in Abuja will know what is happening in my local government. So states should be created, governors or states should be allowed, state assemblies should be allowed to create local government as they deemed necessary or fit, instead of federal government interfering. And that is fundamental issue I raised about our constitution. So our constitution requires a lot of thinking in order to make it to be less ambiguous.
All right then, Professor Edmund in Enugu, thank you very much. Daniel.
Right.
Yeah.
So, yes, I've heard the argument of the professor. It's a valid argument. However, this will be my reaction to that. One, he said that the federal government has no business with how states create their local government. No, federal government has every business with the local government created by state, because when the local governments are created, federal government will be demanded to provide the money to run the local government. And no state create local government within the limit of what they earn. So, for example, if Yobe is getting 20 billion and they go ahead and create local government, they will come to the center and demand for more money because they have additional local government to be able to run. No state will create that and say, okay, we'll manage what we have. So federal government has a business in that, because the minute you approach the federal government for increased funding to take care of that, the federal government will be forced to look at the limited resources and how those resources are to be administered for the good of Nigeria. Two, every National Assembly member, House of Rep or Senator, is a senator from their constituency or senator of the Republic. The jurisdiction of that senator is not limited to the district where he comes from. He makes law for good peace, order, and good government throughout the Federation of Nigeria. There is nothing that stops a senator from state A to make a law that will benefit state B. Therefore, the brand of the federalism that we are running in Nigeria is one that, unless there is the overhaul of the Constitution to make additional provision for those within the limit of what we already have, the federal government would naturally have business in all of the activities that goes on. If you look at the exclusive jurisdiction of the federal government in Section 251, matters for which the National Assembly has power to legislate, they affect some of those areas. So if they are legislating on minting and printing, they are legislating on defense, they are legislating on matters that will determine the territorial integrity of that local government, federal government will have a business, and that means the National Assembly members will have a say in how that is done. I think that's the reason why a lot of people are asking for a whole new constitution. But let me tell you this, Mr. Yori, and in just 1 minute regarding this. If you look at countries like the United States, their constitution is not as voluminous as our constitution. It is not adding many laws. It is doing justice to the one you already have. The England, the United Kingdom, their own is even the world. Their constitution is like a pamphlet. And yet they have good system of government. So the point, and where there is a confusion as regarding the interpretation of the Constitution, that's why the court exists. If you look at Section 6, the judicial branch of the Federation, they interpret laws. So where there is no clarity, the judiciary is there to do that. But I want everybody to know that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has in his hands, I believe, this carrying capacity for a restructuring that will bring government and will make equitable government throughout the Federation. It's just 1 year. We are seeing the local government autonomy, which is a breakthrough already. By the time he's completing the first term, there are many more areas of innovation and creativity that will bring about true federalism and true government to the Federation of Nigeria.
Okay. Mr. George in Ikeja, thank you for calling in. You're our last caller. Go ahead, please.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning.
Good morning to Dr. Bwala.
Yeah.
Uncle Yori, this local government autonomy is already part of the restructuring that people have been calling for. It's part of the restructuring. The issue we should be talking about now, in my view, is about how the local government can function well, practically, under this pressure from the governor. The professor talked about elections. Perhaps he has not studied the situation well in the local government. An election has just taken place last Saturday in Adamawa. The ruling party won all the 21 local governments. That was the state during the governorship election, Uncle Yori. The PDP won majority of the local government. They didn't win all. APC won, I remember they won 11 local governments. But when local government election comes, the ruling party in virtually all the states will win all the local governments. What does that tell you? There is no fairness in local government elections because it is held under the whims and caprices of the governor, of the state governor. If the autonomy given to local government is to be useful or to be anything good, the elections of officials to the local government must be supervised by a credible body, and the officials elected should be under a credible election. That is the only way
Okay.
the economy can work.
I beg your pardon, Mr. George. Thank you very much. We've almost run out of time. I wanted to leave some for Dr. Bwala to be able to respond to it. What you are saying is in line, I believe, with the thoughts of Ibrahim, who called in from Adamawa earlier on in the program. Dr. Bwala.
Yeah, but all of the contributions of these individuals are welcome, and they are the reflection of how the Nigerian people are thinking. And to me, it's an excitement because it shows that the people of Nigeria are also interested in how they want their government to be run. I have a good news to all of them, with all of the ideas, that the administration of Bola Ahmed Tinubu will, to a large extent, attempt to do most of that. And we have seen that because a lot of people thought that local government autonomy will be suicidal. So they said it now that if you do that, the governors are going to be up against the president, which means the president will not get second term. He's not thinking about that. He's thinking about good governance. And the way God works, now the entire majority of the local government in Nigeria are excited about this development, are thanking him. The local government, are they not grassroots? So he has rather improved and increased his popularity by doing the right thing than for political exigency, you take a step that will continue to keep Nigeria in a state of comatose. We are making the right progress. Let's continue to receive the input from the Nigerian people. But I'm telling you that the local government administration will bring about development. Very soon we will have INEC supervise the elections in Nigeria, like the way the last observer said. In all the states' local government elections, the party in power will get everything, will sweep everything. That tells you it is simulation, it's not election. But the one conducted by INEC, as weak as we complain about INEC, we have seen governors lose their seat. We have seen governors, anointed people losing. In this election, we saw President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who comes from Lagos, lost Lagos to Labour Party. As bad as we call INEC is. Now, if these elections of Lagos presidential is to be conducted by state, you can be sure 100% of the vote will come to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So let us have confidence in INEC and continue to make the case to improve INEC. You know, even if it means the unbundling that would keep INEC as an entity, but will decentralize the workings of INEC so that it will be federal INEC, but in states supervising elections of state, depending on when this democracy will be strong enough for state INEC or state electoral commission to be able to conduct that. Otherwise, it will still be like you're going around the same cycle and not achieving what you need to achieve.
You know what? We're going to have to leave it here, Dr. Daniel Bwala. I really do appreciate you making time for us, and indeed, it's been intellectually stimulating. You know, some of the thoughts that we've been getting from you, and of course, as you said, Nigerians are very, very conscious about the matter, as has been illustrated by the contributions. Okay, so once again, thank you very much for coming on the program this morning.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And indeed. So that's Dr. Daniel Bwala, policy analyst and lawyer, member of the Lincoln's Inn in the United Kingdom. And that brings us to the end of the program. Do please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I am Yori Folare. Bye-bye for now.